I decided to really push myself today, and it was painful. I thought like 20 or 30 minutes had gone by. I had only done 8 minutes of writing. I played mind games with myself. We did it. So we've completed 50,000 words in the month of November, and I had a 10,000 word day. This is gonna sound really bad, but I don't know if I really like my story. That's why I'm not going to let up on writing. Keep pushing, and my goal is by the new year, have the first draft finished. And that starts now. So we've got 50,000 words written now for this November challenge. And then we also have 17,000 words written from October before the challenge began. You can check out the first episode if you want to hear more about that. So that means I'm at 67,000 and some change. Assuming this story will end up being around maybe 80,000 words by the end of it, 75 to 80,000 words, because the underwriting has definitely started happening. I got about 1,100 words this evening, which I think puts me to 69,000 words for the draft now. Seems kind of crazy that I've jumped up from 50 to in the late 60s, but thank you, past Josie, for getting that done. I kind of miss coloring in the little boxes and tracking stuff, so I may have to think of a new way to do that. Maybe I assume I'm gonna hit 80,000. Maybe I could draw out the chapters I have left, but actually what I realized, I said I had 6.5 chapters left, but one of those chapters is a flashback chapter that I've already written, so that makes it 5.5 chapters, finished one, so I'm on the 5th to last chapter now. So is it worth it to just draw out 5 little squares? I don't know, but I'll figure something out before I start writing tomorrow. It is a few days later. It's Friday, November 29th. I've done a little bit of writing here and there. I think it was totaled like 2,300 words, and that puts me at, I think, 71,000 words for the draft. I have been really underwriting, so I actually only have 2 chapters left, and that's just from my planned chapters. I know I want the last one to happen. It's one that I've been thinking about for a while because it's kind of going to be this micro twist on the ending. A micro twist is basically a twist that happens at the very end of the story that kind of reshapes a lot of what you're looking at for the story. It's not super big, but it's enough that it just adds a bit of at the end. But I've been debating how many resolution chapters to kind of put between that and, you know, getting off the mountain, the people who make it off the mountain. So I have one right now, but as I write it, I might end up writing more. I doubt I will. I might just write notes for draft 2. You saw in one of those little montage clips that I've started to write down ideas for draft 2, just because when I'm like, oh, it would have been really good to have my main character go through this realization instead of this one, or for this arc to finish this way instead. That way, when I'm on draft 2, I can deal with it. I've written it down. I know I want that. It's written somewhere, and I no longer really have to worry about it right now for this process. The goal is write these 2 chapters in maybe the next 2 days, because it would be really fun to get it done by the end of November and then just take December off and read, because I have that book that I was reading again in one of the previous clips. That is the 3rd book of a series, that the 5th one's coming out in December 6th. So I really do want to try and get those books read so I can read the new one when it comes out, because I've been doing a reread since like October, and I crushed the first 2 in like a week because I didn't really have much else that I was focusing on. Yeah, it is about 10:30 I think now in the morning on Friday. It's a day off because it was American Thanksgiving yesterday. And so hopefully I can get 1 chapter today, 1 chapter tomorrow. And I did want to show you this really pretty sunrise that's currently happening. That's why maybe I've been looking out to this side while we've been chatting, because it's so beautiful. I'm just at my friend's house and I was gonna start writing, but I first wanted to show what I end up setting up in my notebook because I no longer have 50 squares. So I just started adding more along here. I put it to 74,000 just because I really don't know how many words I'm gonna write. I think I'll probably hit 74, so I could just keep adding squares. I haven't colored any of these in, but I've technically gone to 71. And then also on this little figure, I'm proud of myself, I've added another little y-axis bar there with the rest of the days of the month. So you can see I haven't made too much progress in the last few days, but yeah, just wanted to update that I figured out a way to record more as I finish this story. And so I'm gonna start doing some writing. And what I've actually decided to do for today is I have a really good idea on what I want to do with the last chapter. And as I was driving over here, I was like really picturing what I wanted to have happen, how I want to tie in stuff from earlier in the story and kind of have, you know, tie backs. So I think I'm gonna write the very last chapter today, and then after I'll go and write in that chapter before that. I've just finished the last chapter of my story, which is not to say that I'm done, because again, that was the last chapter, but then I skipped over the penultimate chapter. So now I have to go back and write that. And we are so close to the end. I didn't end up finishing the chapter I started yesterday. I wrote about 1,000 words yesterday, and I thought I would have the rest of the day to keep working on it after. But then I got sidetracked with other things, like I didn't realize we had a D&D session later that day, and then my friend called with an extra ticket to go see Wicked. I've already seen it once, but I loved it so much. So I was really excited to go watch it again. So by the time I got back, it was late. So then I picked it up again this morning. It's already just past noon because I spent a lot of the day reading my book, making some progress, though this book's so big that even if I spend hours reading, I like move millimeters within the actual text. And honestly, getting these words down is like pulling teeth. I just want to read my book and not have to think. But again, if I lose this momentum, when am I going to finish this? Honestly, with 1 chapter left, if I didn't finish this like today or tomorrow, I would probably just leave it and say, I'll just write in draft 2. That's not what we're doing. I've done that in the past where I've left a huge chunk of the ending to be written, and then I'll do another draft. And then halfway through, I'll want to just start editing again, so I'll go back to the beginning. And the ending just doesn't get as much thought and time. And I want this to be a complete first draft. So I'm holding myself accountable. Today, I'm going to write this thing, probably be underwritten. Won't be the best. It could be, but I just need something written so I can put this book aside before I feel like it's too much of a chore, because I also want to do some reflections on what I want to change for the upcoming draft while it's still fresh in my mind, while I'm still semi-excited about it. I wish I could be more enthusiastic about finishing this draft, but it just needs to get done. And it's going to feel great when it gets done, and I'm proud of myself for writing this much, but it just needs to get done. We're not at the end quite yet. I've only written 528 words since we've last spoken. But what I did have a really good realization about is the theme of my story. So when I was creating my story, the theme was mostly surrounding the main character's emotional journey, their arc that they're going through, the realization that she's going to come through at the end of the story. but I didn't have just a thesis statement, overarching theme. And I actually, as I was writing this last chapter, aka second to last chapter of the actual book, I had an epiphany of what that theme would be, and it actually ties in some other subplots that I've been thinking about and I had added but felt a little off. So now that I've thought about it, it's like I'm really happy with it. I think it'll be a really good thing to focus on in the next one and trying to explore that a bit more and delving deeper into places where I've started to touch on it. Basically, it's just I've had this idea in the back of my head, but it's only in this last chapter that it's really crystallized into words, into like a thesis sentence that I could articulate. So that's really exciting. I'm really happy about it. Again, I think getting to the end of this story has been really hard, but I am getting a lot of excitement for going back and editing. Like, I cannot wait to go back and clean things up and really try to find more poetic ways of describing feelings and thoughts and emotions. I have a feeling that this will be underwritten as well, this chapter. And there is another scene that I want to write, but we are so close. Home stretch. So the next time you see me, we should be done. We did it. We have finished the first draft of my mountaineering thriller novel, and it finished at 74,132 words. I feel like there's something more I have to do, but it's done. I did all the chapters I outlined. It feels complete. I mean, on a rewrite in draft 2, maybe I'll feel like I need to add specific things, but for now, I'm so happy with it. Honestly, this last scene was really nice, and it was kind of a good confirmation that I did go in a really good direction, because it's almost like my subconscious was making decisions for this story that I didn't even know I was making, and adding specific things in that can come back at the end, because there's been some parallels that have been happening between different situations at the start of the book, at the end of the book, within the characters' like psyche, that just, it's hard to describe without spoiling the story or spoiling this ending, but it just really feels very like poetic in the way that these parallels are happening. I would like to say that I designed this on purpose, but it's like the things that you don't plan but just pop up in the story that really elevate it. I feel like that's where that like plotting versus pantsing comes in, where you can outline to death, but sometimes it's those subconscious little additions that really make a story feel a lot more unique or feel a lot more unexpected, even to the person writing it. I guess this means I have to celebrate. I don't know how I want to do that yet, but what I do want to do, this is really bad, but I have not backed it up. So I think my first goal will be to convert this to a Word document, because right now it's in the Scrivener where it's like separated up by chapters and stuff, because in my revisions I like to work from here on out in a Word doc. So I'll do that. I don't know what additional things got brought into the transfer, but it's saying that the final word count in the Word doc is at 76,415 words. So maybe there's things that Scrivener doesn't count as a word that the Word doc does. So I guess I'm actually at 76,415 words, because that's what I'm going to be working with from now on. Maybe they added extra stuff, but we'll find out later. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a piece of pumpkin pie. Some celebratory leftover Thanksgiving pie. But wait. A part of me is like, oh, I should do multiple. But how many candles do you put on a book celebration? I think just one. We did it. We have completed this book. So 3, 2. I will enjoy that in a second. don't think about the fact that I also had a piece of pumpkin pie this morning for breakfast. So it's not that special. So I'll have to come up with more later. I'll just come up with 10 different ways to celebrate this week. This is really exciting for me because I've had this story in my head for so long, and I've pushed it aside for other stories for so long that to finally have it complete just feels so good. There's still a lot of work left to be done with subsequent drafts, but this is the fun part. This is the part that I love to do. Just sit there, get engrossed in the story. It's already there, and just playing around with words and descriptions and really building out my characters and theme. So thank you for watching this vlog. Thank you for watching all the vlogs and the preparation videos if you've been around for that too. I'll catch you next when I start preparing for the revision by going through notes that I've made about this draft and really thinking about what I want to focus on in these first rounds of revision. But for now, I'm going to take a break, get back into reading, sleep more, I don't know, figure out what it is to live life without trying to write thousands of words every day.